And hello and welcome to At the Picnics show number 4. Thank you very much to everybody who has been watching all the shows. We've had fantastic feedback. Couldn't have asked for anything better. So thank you. And of course, At the Picnics is brought to you by Picnic Bet. And remember, always gamble responsibly. As always, my co-host Danny Walker is here. She hasn't had a good week. She hasn't been very well, but seeing her today from the last couple of days, she's looking a lot better. She's eating the butter menthols. Danny, how are you going?
Going not too bad. The voice is slowly getting better, and we're surfacing again. So here we go.
Good, good. And joining us is the wonderful Tracy Johnson, who has just recently got back in the saddle after having nearly a year off, and we're going to talk about that. Tracy, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
No problem, thank you. So we'll just quickly talk about last week. Danny, we were at Yea, and Jack Vigona rode a double. Congratulations to Jack. Lee Taylor rode a double, one of them being the winner of the Sister Olive. So congratulations to you, Lee. And a quick shout out, we've got Marcus Goonan, the president of Dedarang, who has contacted me during the week to say that he absolutely loves the show, and we're looking forward to catching up with him on the 25th of Feb when they have their annual meeting, and of course the Dedarang Cup is on that day. What else came out of Yea on Saturday, Danny?
No, I think everybody managed to behave themselves. Tracy ensured she didn't get a mention. She threw her stick away on her favourite horse.
Yes.
So yeah, no, it was a pretty stress-free affair by all accounts. But the boys certainly had a field day. Lee Taylor rode superbly. So did Jack. Sean kicked one home as well for Don. So Don had a good day out. I think he got 2 for the day as well.
Don won the first 2 races. Yep. And
yep. Your mare certainly proved Don right. You said that Don had said she's got a bit of ability, and she certainly displayed that in the first. She won very convincingly after blowing the start. But no, all in all, it was a really good day's racing.
It was good. The weather was fantastic. And look, if anybody wants to have a look at this amazing winning race one, and I'm not just saying it because it's one of my horses, but she missed the start by 4 over 1300 and still got up. So if you've got time, go onto the Picnic Bet Facebook site, have a look at this run. Absolutely unbelievable. So I can confirm that she is in at Woolamai. Well, she will be nominated for Woolamai over the 1600 Trophy 1 handicap on New Year's Eve. So that is when our next racing is, Danny, because of course we don't have Druin on the 26th, and we don't. What's the other one that was cancelled? Oh no. That's the only one.
Further into January. Hillsville, unfortunately, have lost another event.
Lost another event
due to the flood damage and that their track has sustained. I have spoken to Gary Buckley earlier in the week, and he
hello dog.
Dotty's helping today, and yeah, look, he has said that my figures weren't quite correct with how much my dog's bringing my tree to me, with how much the clubs have been slugged. There are a certain amount of transfer fees and that are sustained. Some of that's going from the picnic clubs run an analog system and the professionals run a digital system. But the 25,000 that I initially said was incorrect. It's bit less than half of that. So he has put forward to Country Racing a number of options, one of them being that through February and March, he's put forward some dates where we'll end up possibly having double headers, so meetings on Sundays as well as the Saturdays, to recoup some of the meetings that we've lost. There'll also be 7 races put on at some of the meetings, and where possible, where there's enough acceptances, races, as we had at Yea, races will be divided, so they'll run 2 divisions. So they are trying to get it sorted out.
There was some fantastic nominations at Yale. All the fields were pretty well full with emergencies. Yeah. And we forgot to mention there was an 8th race, which we had a bit of a chat during last week about it, that 5:20 was the last race. And we thought that can be a little bit hard for people because a lot of the trainers have got horses at home as well. They've got to get home and feed them. So we sort of thought if they're going to have 8 races, maybe the first one, race 1, could start at least half an hour earlier.
I think this is going to be an ongoing situation, and we'll see how it unravels as the season goes on. you hope ideally that somebody can throw a feed for you. Obviously not all of us have that luxury, and a lot of us don't necessarily have staff that work for us. With the picnic stables, we're not generally huge stables, but hopefully somebody can lend a hand on a Saturday afternoon. We only had 35 minutes, I think, between races as well, whereas normally we have 40 minutes between races. So they've tried to shorten the day a little bit with our times in between races, but I think it ran pretty smooth. Trace, what do you reckon?
Yeah, I think they did a fantastic job. And although I didn't go out and about the crowd, from what I could just see from the decking, it looked like a great atmosphere. I know that a couple of people said that it was disappointing that they didn't get more, but I didn't see that. But I'm sure the people that were there enjoyed the day. But in terms of racing terms, I found that it ran smoothly and clockwork.
Yeah,
Yep.
it seemed to have a good feel to it.
I was
They
there.
did a good job with the track too. Like I was unsure with the rain earlier in the week how the inside of that track, but it raced really evenly throughout the day, and that became
having
excellent.
full fields over it all day. I felt that it kept itself. It raced pretty even. There was no. There didn't seem to be any disadvantage being on the fence or off the fence. I think everybody had a really fair go at it all day.
Yeah.
So it's a full credit to the club to get it up after the really mishapful start to the season that they've sort of had after losing their first meeting and all the rain and that they've sort of had as well.
As a spectator at Yea, I do actually look up where the jockeys' room is, and we sort of say you've got a hotel up there, but you're sort of up on the balcony there, and it's like a little separate hotel. What's the facilities like inside?
Yea's pretty good. The rooms aren't huge, but none of our picnic rooms are really that huge. And they do their best to cater for us. We have fruit salad and drinks and stuff that are kept in there. It's a golf course as well. So in the club room tea house, they've got a fridge in there that has our drinks and sandwiches and fruit in it. And they have tea and coffee facilities open to everybody up there. So they try their best to facilitate us as best as they can. When it gets really hot, it's as long as the doors and that stay shut, we've got a bit of aircon in there, so that'll help too. But it ran really well on the weekend. It seemed to go off without a hitch.
Just on that subject, Mel mentioned last week that your fluid retention can make you a bit heavy, and you've got to be able to release that. What do you do there, girls, if it's a really hot day? Like you want to refresh yourselves, and you probably have Powerade or cordial or whatever you drink. Do you have to be careful of how much you are consuming?
Generally, when it's that hot, you tend to sweat it out too. So if you don't sort of have the weight issues, unfortunately for some riders, they've got to be very careful as to how much fluid they consume on the day, keeping an eye on their weights and stuff like that. So it's the same as at the pros. Ask Jamie Mott. He's a tall jock, and he obviously has to watch his fluid intake and stuff through the day. So, yeah, it's definitely one for the individual, and you learn how to balance that as you go through your career.
And if you want to have a snack, what do you normally go? A banana or a protein bar?
Sometimes a protein bar, a bit of fruit. Fruit's often popular because you've got a bit of a sugar in that in it. And lollies. So we've generally got lollies floating around somewhere that we share. So Trace and I are pretty good for getting stuck into the lollies.
And now we're talking about the assorted mix, the really good ones.
Absolutely. And get on the Natural Confectionery Company ones as well, don't we?
That's it. The old snakes, can't beat them. Tracy, thank you for joining us. Now we're going to find out a bit about you, but I'll just quickly talk about you. You've been out of the saddle for just under a year now because Chelsea, your daughter, was quite sick, and you've had to go and spend time with her. But at the moment, things are going really well, and that's why you're able to get back into the saddle. So welcome back.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, we've been home, I think a month now, and every day out of hospital is a bonus. So hopefully it's just onwards and upwards here. So yeah, we're just happy to be home for Christmas, and it was a bonus to be able to get back to the races last weekend.
And your eldest daughter, Brianna, is she a good help? Does she look after Chelsea as well when she can?
She is a very good help. I often have to tell her just to take a step back because she's Mrs. Mum sometimes and likes to try and delegate the younger children, and then they go, no, we don't want, so no, my eldest, I'm very blessed. Both my children are very helpful.
Fantastic. It comes from good mothering. And now, speaking of good mothers, Danny, at Hillsville last year on the Golden Thong Day, you ran a raffle, which was really successful to help Tracy out with some expenses of her daughter being really sick. And what a great success that was. Oh, Danny's frozen. Hello, Danny. That's all right, Trace. We'll keep talking.
Yeah. But I will add to that. Yeah, Danny earlier this year, when obviously myself and family were preoccupied with this traumatic diagnosis, Danny, and she had mentioned that Caitlin King had actually put it forward. They had brainstormed and decided to come up with a fundraising idea. So I think Danny's actually had a hand in a lot. Well, as we all know, Danny wears a lot of hats, but she was a massive driver behind supporting me and my family, and one of them being the raffle. And she had a lot of sponsors, just so supportive. And I'd probably be here for the next hour if I had to thank every single person that has supported me and Chelsea or our family. But that's all been because of Danny and that. And one of the big successes was Hillsville raffle. But, Balnarring, they ran a race as well for Chelsea.
That's right, they did too, which Danny won.
Yes, yeah, I was in tears. We were in hospital, but I was in tears.
You probably were on. Were you? Did you? No, you didn't ride in that race. So you would have heard when Danny won that race, the cheer that went up, like 100 from home. You could see she was going to win. The cheer that went up was everyone knew and wanted Danny to win that. Was unbelievable. A lot of people said, "Oh, she's false favourite because of that," and I said, "Does it matter? Like she won anyway." That was just sort of icing on the cake, wasn't it?
It was. And it's a big credit to her. Like I said, she's a busy woman, and I'll be forever thankful for all of her support. But the whole racing community and the whole picnic racing community, like every club's put something towards in a raffle. Yay, we're very hospitable last weekend and put a table and chairs out in the deck for Chelsea. So it's kind of just like an extended family, the picnic racing. And the more and more people go and experience it, they realise that the atmosphere is very humbling and something to definitely be a part of.
Oh, when hello, Danny, you're back.
Sorry, my phone overheated, so it just died out.
That's all right. We were saying really nice things about you. And when if anyone goes to the picnics, I know you get bigger crowds than you do in sometimes races in town. And you jockeys probably don't hear close to the finishing line because you're concentrating on what you're doing. But sometimes the cheer is incredible, especially, cup days and that when it's such a massive crowd.
Oh, don't count on it. You can hear a fair bit, can't you, Trace?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
So
I think I was discussing with you guys earlier that one, I've heard us in videos like replays, like heard the jockeys, but two, I've got from my very early days of racing, my trainer at the time, Normie Thompson, running down to the fence to tell me to slow down, and I actually did hear him, and thankfully did listen and won the race. But I don't know, sometimes you zone out too. It's the last thing you're thinking of, like you're trying to get every inch of that horse, especially if it's becoming a close margin.
Yep. If anyone asks my husband, he'll be able to tell you that he can hear me anywhere on any track in Victoria. Doesn't matter how loud the crowd is, he can always pick my voice, and I'm normally swearing at somebody. I don't know what that's about.
Too scared to say something, but Hachi will say very well, yeah, sometimes I'll let something out. And do you know what? I haven't swore all this year because I've been in hospital environments. And then the first couple of weeks I'm back in horses, I went, oh my God, I'm swearing again. Like,
It's blame Danny. She's a bad influence. She swore on the show. She told me to get effed last week on the show
And why was that?
because I was saying how much of a beautiful lady you are.
Bull crap. You talk such lies. You were telling me that I was 4 foot tall.
No, I didn't. I said 4'4".
Close enough.
It's all right.
Anyway,
We had to put
we'll
an
go
R
past
rating on
that.
the show. We'll go past it. Now, you've got some funny stories to tell us, Trace, talking about sprays and stuff like that. Please indulge us of what's happened.
yeah, so my beginnings of picnic racing was, so my grassroots were initially with Lindsay Park, and then when I was 18, I came over with my partner at the time to Victoria, and we were at Norm and Faye Thompson stable in Kilmore, and they'd asked me if I wanted to do the picnic season. So, yep, I obviously did. I've never had any aspirations to be a jockey, but it seemed like it was a good opportunity to have fun. And look, they made me work hard for it, but I certainly have some great stories about Normie. One being, as I was just sort of enlightening before, my first Victorian race ride, and thankfully Normie wasn't there. I let the horse at Hillsville lead by 16, had no idea of tempo, thought I was home and hosed, and I lost by 17. So I just let it run. Anyway, the next race was Yay. It was a 3,000 metre race, but it wasn't the Sister Olive. I don't know what race it was, but anyway, Normie was there that day, and as they do, they let the horses come from down the hill. So the first time past the post, obviously I was going to let this horse lead by 16 again, and on the old VHS tapes, I have Normie running down to the winning post saying, slow down, slow down. So you can see him, and you see me put the brakes on, and thankfully that horse won that day, and I rode a double, and I had some great times. So the first season I rode for Normie, he won the premiership. But yeah, Normie has given me lots of sprays, and some have been very warranted, like second in the Merton Cup because I just didn't pull the stick. And this was the
Our
days
times
of
have
Adam
changed.
Bodie.
No wonder you like it now.
Yeah. So that's probably why I have real like white line fever now, and just go a little bit the other way. Hopefully I'm balancing out now. The older I get, hopefully I'm balancing out. But I think Normie followed me all the way from me unsaddling the horse all the way to weighing in. Just he couldn't comprehend how I just sat there and just didn't pull the stick on this horse. But I was a young chicken, so probably wasn't as dedicated to it as I am now. Like now I really look at horses, watch races, look at form, and even as soon as noms come out, like if there's a horse I don't know about, I'll look into it. But yeah, Normie, we have we've done a couple of trips up to Dedarang, and I must say they were great trips to Dedarang. But oh bless Normie.
It's a very unique track,
think-
Dedarang.
It is, yeah. And I think the first time we went, we took a full truck. Like I'm sure the last bay we were pushing the horse's head in, so you would look out. We're closing the gates and that. We had a busy day. We're running late, and the first couple went amiss because I didn't get time to walk the track. So Dedarang's one of those places that you really need to walk the track.
It is a very tricky place.
Yeah. I think I came second in the cup that day too, but on a horse of Normie's called Blanco that wasn't a good chance. So it was just a fluke that day. But yeah, Normie, I'm sure, maybe not so much. I see Jody has some horses, but he was always a good supporter of picnic racing, and most of the older jockeys know him and his family well.
He's a ripper bloke. He's hilarious.
He is.
Yeah.
I got
so
one more.
Dedarang probably. Sorry,
you go, Danny.
Paul. Go.
No, you go.
So out of Dedarang, what's probably the most unique track that you've ridden on the picnic circuit? Because you rode in Bong Bong too, didn't you?
I did, yeah. Bong Bong was my first race ride, and again, running late, didn't get to walk the track, and that's great because there's a hill in the middle of the race course, so it's not like you can even have a bird's eye view over it. Yeah. Most unique track. Well, to be honest, I haven't rode at Swifts Creek, Hitamungi, or Druid. So I did ride at Buchan the year that they had the fires go through to support them. And look, that was, they all have their own little bits and pieces. And I think the more you ride on them, you sort of realise where's good places to race. Yeah. So Buchan, I think the only thing with Buchan was like come back down to the mounting yard. I was like, oh my God, we're going downhill. So if I'm out of control, I'm going to go past there. But yeah, nothing bad to say. I know how much work that volunteers put into the tracks, and we're just grateful to have the opportunity to keep doing it.
Absolutely. Yep.
Now,
so out of the
sorry, Danny, we've only just got 5 minutes left, mate. So I just thought I'd better
you're
let
right.
you know. No, you're right. No, do you want to give Tracy her good old 12 in 12, or you got something else?
No, we'll have a crack at the 12 in 12. We'll see how I go with it today. So,
by the way, ladies, I got deja vu.
I have no idea why.
There's a private joke in there, everyone. We'll all let you know in the next when we see you next.
All right, Trace, I'll fire off a few questions. We'll see how we go.
Okay.
So, favourite horse?
Yeah, most recently Marsoom. I've partnered with him for 5 wins, and I just love the owner and trainer as well. Like this, the whole lot of them. But there'd be too many. Anybody that knows me knows if I ride a horse for about a week or something like that, it's my new favourite, and I've probably got about 100 of them. And I've been really lucky to work in some beautiful stables with some beautiful horses.
Would Chelsea's favourite one be Mr. Brightside?
Oh, by a country mile. And all purely because he kissed her head in that racing.com video. And even during chemo, when he won the Group 2, she was as crook as a dog, and she'd woken up at some hour in the night, and I'd said to her, do you know Mr. Brightside won today? But she's since patted him and been reignited, and yeah, by far Mr. Brightside.
Beautiful. Best win?
Oh, that's a hard one, because there's been a few, you know, like I'm Peter, winning the Balnarring Cup was great because it was good to get me sort of back going. But probably the Alex Cup a very long time ago, probably, I don't know, 2008 or something like that, on a horse called Laughing in Dubai, which then next up went and won the Australian Steeplechase for Nick Grazier. And it was, the Alex Cup back then was like 1,800. I'm not quite sure what it is now, but that was first up for her, and he just said, just sit quiet and make you run at the 1,000 and she'll do it. And the first words he said, he goes, I know you're going to be thinking she's not fit enough for this. But anyway, she did, and she won, and then she went on and won this big, I think it was Steeplechase actually, sorry. But the big one at Sandown. So big grey mare. So that was pretty awesome.
That's brilliant. Favourite experience with the kids at the races?
Duclair winning the Sister Olive last year. It was the first time that both girls were there, and it was even better to actually win on the horse and get them in a photo, and that's proudly displayed in our lounge room.
Beautiful. Beer, wine or spirits?
Wine all the way, especially when I'm getting older.
Restaurants or barbecues?
Ooh, I'm going to say barbecues. But maybe the inner person in me sometimes, like a Windjanore woman, would sometimes go, I just want to go to a restaurant. But then when you start getting ready, you're like, I'd prefer a barbecue. Just
Who's the most annoying rider at the picnics that we've got?
Oh, I'm too nice to say anyone. There's nobody. Well,
come on, Trace. You got to say someone.
Yeah, it could be defined in so many different aspects. But if we're talking about winners, yeah, I'll jump on the train and say Sean. And as I said last,
Sean's going to hate this show.
Nice, though.
Sean's going to have a complex.
Yeah. But I do remember saying to him once, can you just let me win one? It was before the Balnarring Cup that Sean and I had a duel down Woolamai straight, and he just got me by like half a nose. I went and ran and looked at the photo, but I remember going across going, can you just let me win one? Because I hadn't won, and I don't think I'd rode a winner upon returning.
All right, ladies, we've just got just on a minute left, so we know that you're both.
Apologies to everybody with the jingle bells going in the background. I have a really helpful puppy dog this morning.
We
And,
can see. We know you're an Adelaide Crows supporter, Tracy. We're just going to leave it at that. Now, Tracy, you probably saw the show last week. He's back. He's actually grown a moustache in a week. I didn't know he was Mediterranean, but he must be. Now, he actually stood Mel up last week. So,
that's a bit rude.
yeah, he wants to know if you'd like to go out with him this week.
I think I'm pretty fully committed with kids and Christmas
all
and
right,
that.
see you, mate. Mate, you just broke his heart. All right, thank you very much, Tracy. Thank you, Danny.
Merry Christmas. Stay
Merry
safe.
Christmas, everybody. Everybody take care.
Christmas. And
See you
hope
later.
to see you all at the Woolamai and Merton races on New Year's Day.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you. See ya.
All right,
Bye.
Bye. Merry Christmas.
Bye.
Bye.